Vroom, vroom.
When I went up to London in this car, coming back, obviously I was in the traffic more than going up, and I was really struggling with the clutch. I mean, I was having to be really careful, so I looked the right monk leaping away from the traffic lights. They're renowned for having a bit of a jumpy clutch, and you can go on the internet and you can get this diagram and you can alter the linkage, which I'm going to do. But I was also convinced that there was more to it than that. And anyway, so we put it up on the ramp, and it's obviously got a lot of overhang on the pinion. So it wouldn't take a lot for that to go like that. So when I looked at the new bolts, this is all mounted in rubber. And the other side, had destroyed itself. It was all broken and what have you. Now obviously I could probably buy new ones of them, but I'm not convinced that is the way to go, because in my experience, modern cars, they don't mount all that on rubber and let it do that. It's mounted solid. So I thought, well, before we go to all that trouble, we'll make up some solid mountings and give it a try. So that's what we're doing. And luckily, when we go to the scrapyard, we have a deal usually with the bloke and have a look on his scrap. And there's always a load of bits of aluminium or what have you. And I just buy bits of alley and poke it. And we had the perfect bit of alley for making these. So John's busy turning them now to locate in the axle and locate on the spring. So we'll go and have a look at that, and you'll see what we're going to try and do. The other thing is, when I drove it up to London, we got underneath it and it's leaking oil out the front of the diff. There's a right load of oil. So it's quite obvious to me that the pinion seal is leaking. So I'm going to take the prop shaft off, get the seal out and see if we can just replace it. If we can, well, that's what we'll do. But looking round underneath, it is an amazingly beautiful little car, because everywhere you look, it's absolutely wonderful. But the other thing with it, it's got this exhaust system, which has got a bloody great silencer, but it sounds like a boy racer, so I'm constantly driving it with a light throttle, so that it's not barking at everybody. So what I'm thinking of doing is putting a silencer in there. So I'm going to try and buy a silencer to go in there. So that's that. The brakes are working beautifully, so that's a good job. The carburation was absolutely beautiful. It was pulling 3,500 revs all the way down the M40 and most of the way back. But on the way back it was a bit crowded, so I went on the A40, but only because it's easier really. It can keep the Arctics behind it, you don't have to get overtaken by the Arctics, but it's doing 3,500 to 4,000 revs, which has got such a smooth engine, didn't seem to matter at all. So I've not got any plans to alter the car as far as the gear racing is concerned, because obviously when you go to Waitrose in it or you drive it in London, it's absolutely lovely because you hardly have to change gear. So let's go and have a look at John, making the spacers up to take the place of these. So John has put it in the four-jaw and machined that bit to get the location on that bit there, and then a 16mm hole in there to get the location on the spring. So they should just literally take the place of them. We're going to have to put a couple of little notches in them to make way for the U-bolts, because the U-bolts fit on a plate on the bottom that holds the shock absorbers, so those holes have got to line up. So they're going to need a couple of little grooves in there, but that's not a big deal. So like that, just a couple of little notches really. So then I'll put that together and bolt it up solid. I mean, if it ruins the ride of the car, then obviously we'll go back to them. But I don't think it will. I think it'll be perfect. So it's going to stop it doing that, and it's going to stop it doing that. So we give it a try. And then the next step will be to take the clutch linkage off it and do that. And then hopefully you won't have to be, you have to be so gentle on the clutch and so gentle on the accelerator, or else it goes off with the back axle leaping. So anyway, we'll see. So when we get it all assembled, we'll give it a run up the road and take Tanya with us, and we'll be able to assess it. And then the next step will be doing the clutch linkage. Some of you may remember we made a video about this car because I only just bought it and the brakes didn't work particularly well and the carburetors weren't very good and it was leaking out the rocker box, and we went to adjust the valve clearance and one of the bolts broke. So we did all that, that's already been done previously, but it still had the jumpy clutch. But anyway, I decided last Sunday to go to the meeting in Belgravia in it. Well, of course, that's all down the M40, quite a way. So I decided, not to be silly with it, and I cruised at about 3,500 revs, all the way down the M40 into London, into Belgravia. On the way home, I came back down the M40 till Beaconsfield, and then I decided I'd go on the A40, because it was much pleasanter really, basically, and it was a lovely day, so it was all good. But we got it back and I thought now's the time to put it on the ramp and have a look underneath, and we put it on the ramp and it had obviously thrown quite a lot of oil out of the front of the axle, so this was all got a load of oil on it. So I thought, well, we've got to do something about that, so we took this off and we put a new oil seal in there. But actually, the oil seal was not that bad, so I can't see why it was throwing the oil out. So I looked around it and I can't find a breather anywhere on the axle. So, cruising along at 3,500 revs, in the days when this was new, we didn't have motorways, but I'm sure people must have done it. But anyway, I decided to drill a hole. Now, lots of cars I find sometimes have a hole about here somewhere to let the air out the axle and stop it pressurising. So I've drilled a hole just there, which obviously I'm going to have to keep an eye on. And if it gives trouble, I'm probably going to have to fill it up. Well, we'll see. Now, the next thing I notice is that the prop shaft is a long way from the centre of the axle. So when you let the clutch out, it's either going to go like that or it's going to go up. I think it goes up. And then I started looking at the way the axle was fitted to the springs. And it's all mounted on rubber. So you've got that and one of them on the top, so that's all rubber. You can't tighten up the U-bolts particularly tight because that's on top of the axle and you can see where it's been moving. So obviously when you let the clutch out, it's going like that, which, modern cars don't do that. So anyway, so John's machined up a couple of nice aluminium spacers and we've mounted that solid. Now, whether that's a retrograde step or not, I don't know, but we'll see. I think that will be better and that will help the jumpy clutch. So then we went on the internet and we found a diagram of how you can improve the clutch actuating rod and things. So anyway, we've done that as well. So we've taken their advice and we've altered that. So that's that done. We've done that. Check the shock absorbers. They're lovely, the shock absorbers. They're like brand new. And as you can see, when old Parnelli Jones did this, he didn't do a bad job. You look under here, it's absolutely mint everywhere. And all the wood here that's normally horrible is all absolutely lovely. You look around it, it's so good. But anyway, so that's a jumpy clutch, hopefully. So the next thing was, although it's got a very nice exhaust system, and you think that silencer, it wouldn't make a sound, but it didn't. It had a sort of rasp. So I'm driving it in London without pressing the accelerator very hard, because you feel a mug when you're in the traffic and it's making a noise like a bloody racing car and it's going along like normal cars. So me and John have made up this silencer. It's a foot long, it's got the perforated inside and it's stuffed with fiberglass. So, and it's taken that rasp away, so I'm knocked out with that. So all in all, we've done that, had a good look round it, checked the rear shock absorbers. So the next thing is a test run. Obviously I've driven it to Belgravia, but now we'll go out with Tanya at some stage and we'll drive it along. On the way back, there's a nice straight bit of A40, and I thought, well, seeing as I'm not on the motorway, I'll take a chance and put my foot flat on the floor, because I wouldn't want it to break down on the motorway. Anyway, I put my foot on the floor and it went straight round to 5,000 revs in top. It's the smoothest engine I've ever driven. I think old Parnelli Jones must have had a bloody good bloke who did the balancing or something, because at 3,000, 3.5, 4,000 revs, it's a smooth, it's just feels like a bloody electric car. So I'm knocked out with that. So the next step is a road test at some stage, and Tanya will put all this together and you'll see really what we've managed to do. I'm sure, there's still one more job I want to do. The steering wheel's not square. I want to take the steering wheel off and get that square. But other than that, we're pretty close.
Yeah, that feels really, really good.
I mean, the engines are smooth as smooth.
Oh yeah, really smooth.
So
the
we've
clutch
got to
is.
sort out that next.
Yeah, what's the water
That's
temperature?
The temperature gauge,
yeah.
don't work, so I'll have to take the capillary tube out and send it off.
Yeah, the clutch is transformed, isn't it?
Oh, it's transformed the clutch, but it makes the whole car feel better,
Yeah,
doesn't it?
yeah,
and
definitely.
that exhaust, as before,
Yeah.
when you revved it a little bit, it makes you sound like you was a boy racer. Lovely.
That really is a smooth engine.
The only problem now, of course, is securing all the oil links.
Yeah.
But what a good little
Yeah,
car.
absolutely.
I'm knocked out with that car.
Bit tricky with big boots on, but
Oh, yeah. Yeah. But then again, the fact that you can make the clutch work.
yeah. Oh
Even
yeah.
with big
Yeah,
boots
exactly
on,
that. Yeah.
you know.
Exactly.
No, I mean,
That's very good.
I'd like the man who bought it off to come and have a go in it,
Yeah.
really, so he could see what
Yeah,
a difference
he'd
it is.
see a difference, wouldn't
What
he?
with the brakes? The brakes are fabulous now.
We got the brakes, the clutch, the exhaust.
Yeah.
Yeah,
The
all
valve
just needed little bits and pieces.
Carburetors, all the little bits.
Yeah, so you can see that dripping out of the side of the oil pump.
Yeah.
It's an actual drip.
And then, before the winter comes, we'll obviously take Tanya out in it and we'll make a film going along, etc. And I think she could make a good film, you know, and anybody with a TD, it might help them. Oh, they might not agree with what I've done, but I tell you what, it's transformed that car. Right, here we are in the MGTD, having fixed the rear axle, or altered the rear axle and made it more positive, and the clutch has transformed. You know, it really has made a big difference. So we're running out of jobs soon. I've got an old gauge here because the capillary tube needed replacing on the water, so I sent that off to a man who does that sort of thing. So we replaced that. But it's beginning to feel like a really good car. And I mean, if you rev it up and take your foot off the clutch, it goes away with the wheels spinning. So, you know, it's really improved it. But I'm really getting to like this little car because it's so gentle, it's so low geared, and, you know, to drive around. I'm taking Tanya to Tame, to drop her off in Tame. And to be honest, it's one of the, well, to be honest, I think it's the best car I've got to go and do that in. You know, it's very gentle. You're not likely to exceed the speed limit because it's not a racing car by any means. but it's got loads of torque. It will bumble along in top gear. It's just a fabulous little car, and the jumpy clutch spoiled it. Well, it hasn't got a jumpy clutch now at all. You can rev it up and take your foot off the clutch, and it'll go off with the back wheel screeching. So, it's pretty good. The old drive's still very bumpy, but we'll be on the main road in a minute, or the Brockhoff road. But look, that's third gear. In actual fact, it will do it in top. I can't believe the engine. I don't know who Parnelli Jones got to do the engine, but he knew what he was doing. The balance is the best four-cylinder I think I've ever driven behind. You can, like take this to 5,000 revs, but 3.5, 4,000 revs, you would think it's electric. It's absolutely smooth. I'm getting to love this little car. I think it might have to have a new set of tyres in the end, because I think the tyres are very old, and it definitely affects the car a bit, I think. So I think we might get a set of tyres for it. But the next thing, really, I've topped the front shock absorbers up, and I've greased all the front suspension. But the steering still hasn't got any sort of self-centering effect. You turn the steering and it stays turned, it won't go back. So I think it could do with a bit of caster. So I think that might be it. If we do any more work, this is Tim going by in the Le Mans Bugatti. That's the Bugatti that Timothy's preparing to go this weekend to Classic Le Mans. It's a Type 44, but Bugatti built a special Type 44 to do Le Mans in, I think, about 1930 something. And what it was a short chassis Type 44. So Timothy has built a replica, really, of that car, a copy of that car, shall we say. And it's got a 44 engine. It's all more or less Type 44 in a Type 40 chassis, which is exactly what Bugatti would have done. So it'd be interesting to see how well it goes. Well, I mean, it certainly looked like it was going all right when it drove away then. But then again, you see, this little car looks in top gear, bowling along. The engine is so smooth. I'll give it a little rev. I don't know whether you'll be able to feel it, because obviously not being in the car. But look and feel that. So smooth, it's lovely. But I reckon the old tyres have got some flats on it, because it tends to wobble a little bit. What a good little car. And all that changing down, it ain't necessary. Look, this is in top gear. It's like having an automatic. Brakes, now we put the shoes round the right way, I mean, it really stops beautifully. I've absolutely knocked out this car. The previous owner got in touch with me and said to me I was unhappy with it. I said, no, I'm not unhappy with it at all. I know that when you buy a car like this, you always have to do some work on it. and I was quite prepared for that. But I didn't want to do a load of paintwork, and as you can see, it's in lovely condition. Only thing is, it's getting dirty underneath, so not only have I got to clean the top, but I've got to clean underneath as well now. But this is my favourite little car at the moment. Gearbox is good, brakes are good, rack and pinion steering's beautiful. I reckon, to be honest, that mileage is probably right. 52,000 miles. Because I was cleaning it today and I was looking at the chrome, and I reckon the bumpers and everything are the original chrome. They haven't been re-chromed. So, you know, I mean, it is a bloody good car, really. But listen, you know, I mean, it's low geared. Everybody says, oh, they can do it in a 5-speed gearbox and what have you, but, you know, if I have to go down the motorway, I ain't going to go in this necessarily. And if I do, I went last weekend to Belgravia in it, and I went all the way down the M40 at 3,500 to 4,000 revs. It was lovely. And by the way, the back axle's not leaking now, so that was good. And I'm keeping an eye on the hole that I drilled in the axle tube, because I'm convinced that it needs to breathe, and I couldn't see a breather anywhere. So that's improved. What a smashing little car, eh? I love it. And it's not too flash neither. You know, the old Ferraris are all very well, but it's a bit flash really. Oh, it's a flying machine. But obviously, compared to modern cars, it don't go at all. I mean, our firm's van would probably be faster than this, but, you know, when you've got a lovely little car like this, it wants to go fast anyway. I like poodling along in it. And it's surprising the reaction you get from people as well. It's sort of one of those cars that, you know, isn't flash, it's an ordinary little sports car from the 50s. I think it suits an old boy like me.